Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's mini lesson, Matt's going to be teaching you an original tune that I wrote, which I'm calling Summer Nights. Now this tune was actually inspired by one of our members, Sue. Last year, she posted this performance, and I'm going to link it in the description box below if you want to check it out. It was a performance of another original tune that I wrote called Moon Waltz, and while I was watching her video, I was just taken aback by how beautiful the scenery was and the sound of the nightlife, the crickets chirping, and I felt like she captured a perfect postcard image of a summer night. And that was the inspiration for writing this tune. I wanted to capture the magic of summer because it's short and sweet and feels fleeting, and that's what I tried to paint with this short and sweet and fleeting little mini lesson. So let's take a step back now and let's talk a little bit about this lesson. So in this video, Matt's going to be teaching you how to play the entire piece, but if you want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, that's going to be available at this link right here, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com, do a search for ML015. That is the lesson number for this lesson. And also on that page will be the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a great feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tab scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish, just a great asset in learning this tune that much easier. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Matt to teach you how to play this, but two things really quick. The song is for low G ukulele, so grab the low G uke to follow along with. And secondly, this song does use a swung rhythmic fill. So if you need a little help on understanding the difference between playing with a straight fill versus a swung fill, jump into this lesson. I'll also link it in the description box below.
Hello, my name is Matt Dahlberg, and today we're going to learn mini lesson 15. This is for a low G ukulele and perfect for a summer mood. Let's go and dive in. I'm going to bring the camera down to my ukulele, and let's start with the first melody part here. We're going to start with a G chord. Take your index finger, place it on the C string, 2nd fret, ring finger, 3rd fret of the E string, and middle finger, 2nd fret of the A. Now, this is the shape that we're going to be playing off of, but you'll notice we're going to be building it as we go through the chord. So we're going to start by playing the 2 on the C right here, then the open G, then open on the E, so don't place that ring finger quite yet, and then ring finger goes onto the 3rd fret of the E string. Then play the open G, and play the open A, so middle finger not quite on yet. So even though we're not playing the G chord at the start, thinking about this shape as we go through makes it much easier to learn this tune, and it makes it easier to sort of put it on and take it off as you go through. So that first measure, again, is 2 on the C, open G, open on the E, 3 on the E with the ring finger, open G, open A. And in time, the first measure sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Going into the second measure now, we're going to fret that full G chord, do a down strum with our finger here. Then we're going to play the open G, open A, so remove that middle finger off. 3 on the E, open on the G, and open on the A. You'll notice with my playing hand, I'm just doing finger picking, mostly 4-finger, kind of stationing 1 finger per string. You can also do 3-finger if you're more comfortable with that. Whatever works for you. So measure 2 in time should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and the pair of these measures, measures 1 and 2, should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And what's cool about this is it repeats. We actually play through this twice. So we go measures 1, 2, then we do 1 and 2 a second time. So that you can hear it, I'm going to play it all the way. So it's measures 1, 2, and then 1, 2 again before we go on to learning measure 3. Should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... As we go on from here to measure 3, we're going to start with this C chord playing open on our G, C, E strings. And then we actually are going to take our index finger and we're going to kind of lightly touch the A string to mute it. It's okay if you use other fingers here too. It doesn't really matter as long as you're just making enough contact on the string to actually stop it from vibrating. And this way we can kind of strum this 0, 0, 0 without our A string sounding. We're going to do a down and an up there. Then we're going to do a down on 3 of the E string. Take that index finger, place the pressure down on the 3rd fret of the E string while still muting the A. This is one of the harder parts to play of the song. This and another part that's coming later. But it's a really good skill to develop. That way you can sort of select what notes you want to sound and which ones you want to be stopping. So I'm going to do a down there on the 0, 0, 3. And then I'm going to come up on 5, so I can just slide this up. You miss the strings going down, do another up on the 5 there. And then I'm going to do a down on the 7. Now, there's a couple different things I can do. One is I could just slide my index finger up here if I want. You could also try to use your ring finger instead. See, I'm still doing that muted technique. You can even leave the index finger here at 5. Whatever's comfortable. As you're learning this, it's most important to get a good muted sound on the A string. So measure 3 in time should sound something like this as we go through. 2 and 3 and 4 and... As we go on to measure 4 now, we're going to start with that same little muted passage of the open strings. We're going to do a down and an up, still muting the A string. Then we're going to go down on 3 of the E, using the index finger, same way we did before. And then, this is a little tricky, but what I like to do is I like to take my middle finger, place it on 3 of the A string, take the index finger off, do an up strum on 0, 0, 0, 3, and then immediately slide the middle finger up to the 5th fret on the A string. And then we're going to miss the strings coming down. We're going to do an up strum with our middle finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. And then index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string on a down strum. Middle finger here on the 3rd fret of the A string again on an up strum. And even though this finishes measure 4, I just want to plant the little seed in your mind of we're going back to that G chord. So this index finger is going to be going to 2 on the C with the next part. So just start thinking about that. You don't have to actually place the finger yet, but just keep in mind it's about to happen. So measure 4 in time sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And measures 3 and 4 should sound something like this together. 2 and 3 and 4 and... From here, we go on to measure 5, and what's cool is measure 5 is exactly the same as measure 1. And measure 6 starts off exactly the same as measure 2, but it changes at the very end. So you're going to start with measure 6 by playing the G chord, then the G string, open A, 3 on the E, then 0 on the A, 3 on the E, and 2 on the E with your middle finger here. So measure 6 in time sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And the two measures, measures 5 and 6 together, should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now we go on to measure 7, and this is where the tune gets a little bit tricky. On measure 7, we're going to play an A chord. And what we need to do with this A chord is we need to be very careful about not playing the A string. There's a couple different ways we can do this. The easiest way is to take the ring finger, place it here on the 2nd fret of the A string, and don't push down, just touch. The other way we can do it is with our strumming hand. We can actually angle our strum so that we're going out away so that we try to not hit the A string. So instead of strumming straight down and up on a normal axis this way, we're kind of strumming diagonally to avoid the A string. If you hit a little bit of the A string in there, it's not the end of the world. So when you're practicing it, first work on getting the left hand comfortable, and then get the layering of that string sort of muted, whether through the left hand here with the ring finger touching it, or the positioning of the strum. But you're going to do a down up on this A chord with muted A. Then you're going to add 3 on the E string. Really important that you use your pinky here. I know it seems weird and feels weird, but trust me. And we're going to do a down strum there. And then we're going to come up, take your middle finger off, or if you're affecting how you play it differently with your strumming hand, do a full strum up, hitting all 4 strings so that we get that open A string. We're going to bring the hand back down. Then we're going to add the ring finger on the 2nd fret of the A string and compress this time for 2, 1, 3, 0, sweet A9 chord, and come up on that. So that's the first part of the measure. You'll then notice it does a chunk, and then we're going to come up all open. Nice and simple to finish that measure, right? So here it is, super slow. Get all of these mechanics worked out before moving on to the next one. Should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Going on to measure 8 now. Measure 8, we're going to start with all open. We're going to do a down, up, and then we're going to play 2, 0, 2, 0. To do this, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, ring finger on the 2nd fret of the E string. We're going to do a down strum here. Then we're going to do an up strum, slide the middle finger up to the 4th fret of the G string, add the middle finger, or excuse me, the index finger here to the 3rd fret of the E string. We're going to do a up strum there. Then we're going to miss coming down. We're going to do another up strum on 5 with the middle finger on the G string, take the index off, and 5 on the E string with the ring finger. 5, 0, 5, 0. Do an up strum here. We're going to move this straight up 2 frets, so it's at 7, 0, 7, 0. Do a down strum. And then for the last chord of this measure, we're going to take that middle finger, slide it up 2 more frets to 9, take the index and play it on 8 of the E string. This is the hardest part of the song, this whole run. We're going to do an up strum there. So that whole thing, playing it super slow, I'm going to play it once sort of out of time, once in time. It looks like this with measure 8. It's a sort of down, up, miss, up, down, up. All that this is are these cool little, thirds moving up. So what you want to get comfortable with is how you want to fret these as you're moving. I like to use my middle finger on the G string there and kind of use that as my pivot point as I slide up. There are other ways that you can do it too. You can pivot off of the middle finger on the E string. When I was working this out to teach you guys, I ended up thinking that this way of the 2 interior fingers played the most intuitively. So try to work on what's comfortable for you and go from there. But measure 8 in time should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Going on to measure 9, we're holding this for the first beat, and then we're missing the strings down. We're coming up on the 7, 0, 7, 0, so using the 2 interior fingers again. And then we're going to go back up from here, we're going back down to 5, 0, 5, 0. So we're going to do a down strum there. And then we're going down again, middle finger down to 4 on the G, index here on 3 of the E. And we're going to do an up strum. Miss going down. Now we come back up again, middle finger to 5 on the G, ring finger on 5 of the E, do an up strum. Then we're going to do a down strum back on 4 of the G and 3 of the E. And then we're going to do an up strum where we started with the 2, 0, 2, 0 with the middle and ring fingers. It's really easy to get lost as you're working on this, so it's really important to take it nice and slow and follow along as you're playing. But measure 9, out of time, really slow, should be something like this, where it's going up, down, up, miss, up, down, up. See how I'm just kind of working my way down with those thirds? And in time, should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And measures 8 and 9 now for the pair of this new section should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And from here, we're in the home stretch. Because now we go on to measure 10, and guess what? Measure 10, exactly the same as measures 1 and 5 were. So in time, that sounds like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And guess what? Measure 11? Exactly the same as measure 2. So in time, measure 11 something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and the pair of these together, you're going to play 3 times, and you're going to fade out, meaning get quieter as you go through it to finish off the tune. I like to do a repeat where I play it the 3 times, and then I like to end on this 3 on the E. You can kind of play it all the way through, whatever you want. But I'm going to play it how I like it. Should sound something like this, repeating 3 times, measures 10, 11. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And there you have it. There is mini lesson 15, bringing the camera back up to me. It's a really fun summer tune to play on a low G ukulele. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I'll look forward to seeing you all next time for the next lesson here on Rock Class 101. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, so this week's mini lesson was a lot of fun. This is one of those tunes that captures the magic of a carefree summer night, and I hope you enjoy playing it this summer. So I wanted to give you a friendly reminder that if you did want to get the tabs to print off and keep for your records, that was available at this link right here, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com, do a search for ML015, that is the lesson number for this lesson. And don't forget too, on that page is the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer, so you can literally hit play, watch that tab scroll across in real time, highlight bars, loop sections, slow it down, all that fun jazz. So guys, again, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.